Rahim. There are moments in history when faith is tested, not by debate, not by argument, but by pain. Moments when belief costs comfort, when truth demands sacrifice, when holding on becomes harder than letting go. Today's story is one of those moments. This is the story of the first migration in Islam, also known as the migration to Abyssinia. A migration that happened quietly, without armies, without banners, without victory songs. A migration that did not move towards power, but towards justice. This is the story of the migration to Abyssinia. Mecca was once home to all Muslims. It was the place where the Kaaba stood, where tribes gathered, where families lived for generations. But when the message of Islam began to spread, Mecca changed. The belief in one God threatened the social order. It challenged power, pride, and profit. And so the response was cruelty. Muslims were dragged to the streets, beaten in front of crowds, starved, mocked, and humiliated. Bilal anha lay under the scorching sun with a stone on his chest. Sumayya radiallahu anha was killed for refusing to renounce her faith. The families boycotted their own blood, and through it all, the Prophet watched. He carried the pain of every believer, but he did not respond with violence. He responded with wisdom. The Prophet ﷺ did not command retaliation. He did not raise an army. He did not spill blood. Why? Why didn't he do it? He had every right to. Because Islam was not sent to dominate through force. It was sent to reform hearts. At this stage, survival mattered more than resistance. The believers needed safety, space to worship, time to grow. So the Prophet ﷺ looked beyond Mecca and Allah opened a door. The Prophet ﷺ had said to his companions, "If you go to the land of Abyssinia, you will find a king there under whom no one is wronged. It is the land of truth." Think about this. Think about for a minute. He did not say, "Go to a powerful tribe. Go to a Muslim land. Go where people agree with you." He said, "Go where justice exists." Abyssinia was under the rule of a Christian king who was a just. A foreign land, different language, different culture. But one thing that standard amongst them was justice. He was the king Negus, or also known as Najashi. The first migration was small, around 11 men and 4 women. Among them were the leaders Usman bin Affan and Ruqayyah, the Prophet's daughter. They were ordinary believers with no wealth or no status. They left quietly under the cover of night. Imagine the moment. A final look at Mecca, their home, where they spent all their childhood, and they had to leave it. They did not know if they would survive the journey or if they would ever return, if they would ever see their loved ones again. They crossed the sea from the port of Shuaibah, fear in their hearts and faith in their chests. They became Islam's first refugees. At first, Abyssinia felt like safety. They could pray openly, they were not hunted, and they were treated with dignity. Then a rumor spread. It was said that the Quraysh had accepted Islam. Some Muslims returned to Mecca, only to discover that it was all a lie. Persecution was worse than before, so a second migration took place, larger this time. Over 80 men and many women. Now the Quraysh panicked. The Quraysh knew something dangerous was happening. Muslims were living freely, thriving, protected. They chose diplomacy over violence. They sent Amr ibn al-As, a skilled negotiator, loaded with gifts, to bribe the king's advisors and to turn the court against the Muslims. They painted the Muslims as rebels, troublemakers, and people who abandoned their ancestors, and the king agreed to hear both sides. Picture the scene: a royal court, a powerful king, Christian bishops holding crosses. On one side, Quraysh polished diplomats. On the other, poor refugees, no gifts, no influence. The king asked, "Why have you left your people and come to my land?" And once again, Ja'far ibn Abi Talib, the cousin of the Prophet ﷺ, had stepped forward. Ja'far did not insult Quraysh. He did not beg. He spoke the truth. He said, "O king, we were ignorant people. We worshipped idols, committed immortality, broke family ties, and oppressed the weak. Then Allah sent us a messenger from among us. He commanded us to worship Allah alone, to speak the truth, to honor family ties, to protect the weak, and to abandon bloodshed and immortality. This was Islam. No slogans, no politics, just character." The king asked, "Do you have anything from your revelation?" Jafar recited verses from Surah Maryam, verses about Maryam's purity, Isa's miraculous birth, and mercy and humility. The room changed. The king wept, and also the bishops, and he said, "By Allah, this and what Jesus brought came from the same source." A line was drawn, not between Islam and Christianity, but between truth and arrogance. The Quraysh tried again. They accused Muslims of insulting Negus' God. The king asked directly. Jafar replied calmly, "We say he is the servant of Allah, his messenger, his word cast into Mary, and a spirit from him." The king picked up a stick and said, "The difference between us is no more than this." And he turned to Quraysh and he refused them. The king returned their gifts. He declared, "You are safe in my land to the Muslims." There was no bribery, no pressure, no compromise of justice, and the Muslims lived peacefully for years until the migration of Hijrah to Medina in the 13th year. Why does this story matter to Muslims today? This story is not just ancient history, it speaks directly to today's world. It teaches us that faith may require migration, and justice can exist outside your community, and that righteousness is not owned by one group. It reminds us that refugees are not just weak, they are courageous. True power protects the vulnerable. The first hijrah was not to build an empire, it was to save souls. This was the migration to Abyssinia, a journey of loss, a journey of trust, a journey of faith meeting justice. May this story remind us to stand for truth without hatred, to seek justice wherever it exists, and to protect the oppressed always. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.